Is Fortinet stock a buy, sell, or a hold? I'm going to answer that question in this video looking at its revenue, its profit, its cash flow, and its valuation. So let's jump right in, starting with revenue. And you'll notice the cybersecurity company has done an excellent job growing revenue from around 1 billion in 2014 all the way up to 5 billion in the trailing 12-month period. What's more is that this revenue is likely to grow even further over the next decade as cybersecurity solutions are becoming more of a necessity than a nice to have. And so the company's prospects are really good in terms of revenue growth. The next thing I wanted to look at is the operating profit margin, and this too looks really good in Fortinet's favor. Looking at the operating profit margin of 23.5% and going back the last 10 years, you can see this figure, this metric has been rising steadily as the revenue is increasing. So not only is the company positive in terms of operating profit margin, it's increasing as the revenue is increasing, and that demonstrates economies of scale, which I really like to see when I'm looking at growth stocks. The next thing I wanted to look at is cash flow from operations, and this is another metric that looks really strong from Fortinet. Cash flow from operations of 2.2 billion is up significantly from around 600 million in 2018. What's more, if you look at the 2.2 billion and compare it to revenue of 5 billion, you could see the company's turning roughly 40% or more than 40% of its revenue into cash flow. So this company is generating revenue very efficiently and very effectively, turning it into profits and cash flow and not just growing revenue for the sake of growing revenue. Finally, I wanted to look at valuation, and given the excellent metrics in revenue, in cash flow, and profitability, so long as I saw valuation that wasn't prohibitively expensive, I was going to be attracted to Fortinet stock. And fortunately for investors, the stock is not prohibitively expensive. It's trading at a forward price to earnings of 34.78, which you might say, well, that's not a very cheap forward PE ratio. And you would be right if you're just looking at the PE ratio and comparing it to the average stock in the S&P 500. However, if you're looking at this PE ratio and looking at the company's fundamental metrics, its growth in revenue, profit margin, and cash flow, then this valuation looks extremely cheap. So if I was to say if Fortinet stock is a buy, sell, or hold, I would say Fortinet stock is a buy. In fact, I would go so far as to say the stock is a strong buy given its excellent performance.
I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/Parkev for the 10 best stocks to buy now.